For as long as there has been war, there has been the hope of peace. However distant, however improbable it has seemed, in Gaza and beyond, that desperate desire persists. Getting there, though, was never going to be easy. A year in the making, the ceasefire, finally announced this week, has faced hold-ups and delays, even after both sides nominally agreed to it. It did eventually get the backing of Israel's Security Cabinet earlier today. Tonight, the full cabinet has been meeting to ratify the deal. We still don't know if it's reached a decision. And while the world waits on Jerusalem, in just the last few days, more than 100 Palestinians have been killed, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. This evening, bombs continued to fall on Gaza as Hamas announced which of the hostages held below they plan to release first.
Israel's Security Cabinet meeting today. It's made up of the people who decided how the Gaza war was waged. The same people have now voted to end it. It's been a roller coaster week for the families and supporters of the Israeli hostages. On the Tel Aviv plaza that's been their own throughout this war, the mood has ranged from high hopes to deep despair. Today, yet more of the possible impediments to peace and hostage releases were overcome. One of the oldest people to be freed in Phase 1 is Oded Lifshitz, aged 84. Today, his grandson told us he thinks all the hostages will get out.
I believe so, and I believe it's President-elect Trump goal, target. Everyone wants a Nobel Prize over this hostage situation because it's the hardest in the history.
Michael Iluz's 26-year-old son Guy was murdered in captivity. He says the war has achieved nothing.
We have only one way to bring the hostage back home, to stop the madness, to stop this madness and stop the war, and to bring the option for peace, for living.
In Gaza today, people got to survey a massive crater made by an Israeli bomb dropped overnight. After all they've suffered, the truce remains a prospect, not reality. Amr al-Sultan hasn't seen his mother, brother or sister for 15 months and was waiting impatiently, knowing a ceasefire is imminent. In an interview, he said this: "Last night I got news they'd all been killed. I was shocked, and speaking to you now, I still can't believe it. My mother meant everything to me." After 15 months of just trying to survive, of living day to day, Gazans are able to do something novel, make plans. Like so many others, 16-year-old Noor has been living in a tent, but is now hoping to return home. She will do so with mixed feelings.
My soul will come back to me when I return to Gaza, to my house. And we finally will live in peace. And on the other hand, I will be sad because I will not find my beloved brother that I lost him in this war, and I will found my house destroyed.
Hospitals in Gaza are reporting 88 fatalities over the last 24 hours. People who knew a ceasefire was coming, but didn't live to see it. John Irvine, News at 10, Tel Aviv.
Well, as John mentioned, the peace deal today received the backing of the Israeli Security Cabinet, though we are yet to hear tonight from the full cabinet. And there could still be legal challenges over the next few days, especially from far-right factions within that government. But the countdown is on to the ceasefire's planned start on Sunday at noon local time. That's 10 a.m. UK time. Just 4 hours after that, the first 3 of 33 named Israeli hostages are due to be freed and driven out of Gaza. In exchange, 95 Palestinian prisoners will then be released from Israeli jails. As we will see, the pain for those caught up in this war remains visceral and raw.
It is the morning of the 7th of October 2023 and terror has come to Zaki Adan's home in southern Israel. His family are reeling in trauma. Zaki has his head in his hands. The men now holding his family at gunpoint have just shot dead his eldest daughter, Mayam.
Zaki had to see his firstborn daughter die in his arms, her blood pooling out on the tile floor. He tried desperately to resuscitate her, but to no avail.
Zaki was taken to Gaza later that day. He's been there ever since.
I don't know that Zaki knows that the rest of his family survived, and that when he was taken away, that they were okay.
Zaki's family have seen him, though, in a hostage video released by his captors.
In this video that Zaki was in, they said he was dead, killed. They blamed Israel for it, of course. But they never showed his body, and they've not been shy about showing the bodies of hostages before that have been killed. So we're not sure if he is alive or dead.
Zaki's name has appeared on the list of hostages to be released in the first phase of the ceasefire agreement. Among the others, Shiri Bibas and the two youngest hostages, her sons, 4-year-old Ariel and Kafir, who turns 2 tomorrow, and a British citizen, 28-year-old Emily Damari, who was shot and injured in the hand and leg as she was kidnapped.
We know that they're not being treated well. The last recovered bodies of the 6 hostages in the end of the summer included signs of torture, abuse, neglect, starvation.
As for whether the hostage deal might be a step towards a peace agreement with the hostage takers, that's difficult for Adam to see.
Hamas didn't just kill people. They didn't just kidnap people. They murdered the prospects for peace in its bed while it was sleeping. So yes, I want this deal. Most Israelis want this deal, but very few Israelis will ever want to live next to Hamas.
The hostages will be released over the course of the next 6 weeks, but no one knows anything of their condition, so their families live in hope and fear. Geraint Vincent, News at 10.
Let's return now to John in Tel Aviv tonight. And John, we still don't know what stage this process has reached tonight. We still don't know whether the Cabinet's reached agreement or not, whether it will even reach agreement this evening or whether that will be tomorrow. Nothing has been easy about any of this, has it?
No, you're so right, Paul. We've had more than a year of tortuous negotiations. That was capped off by the past week, a fraught week during which both sides bickered over what exactly they had agreed to. But it does now seem that all the obstacles will be overcome for the guns to fall silent at 10 a.m. London time on Sunday. Then 4 hours later, those first 3 hostages should be handed over to the Red Cross. Soon after that, 95 Palestinian prisoners should be released from Israeli jails. In the days following that, hundreds of aid lorries will go into Gaza. Humanitarian aid is still in short supply there. Israeli forces on the ground in Gaza will redeploy, moving out from central areas to the periphery. Then at some stage, something like 1 million Palestinians who've been trapped in the south will be allowed to go north, where they will find, most of them will find their homes in rubble. There's a lot happening, which means a lot could go wrong. While we wish them well, also, Paul, I think it's worth reflecting on the fact that this deal is based on a set of proposals that were made public by President Joe Biden way back last May. And one can't help but wonder how many lives would have been spared had both sides signed up to this deal back then.